Welcome to the Bloom Where You're Planted podcast from Never Too Late Cafe. I'm your host, Laura Womack. Each week we sit down for a chat with someone just like you, someone who had an idea, a passion, a dream, or sometimes just a thought, and planted that seed, watched it grow into something they wanted to share with the world. If you have an idea for a topic or someone that would be a guest for the Bloom Where You're Planted podcast, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook, where you can join our Never Too Late Cafe Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you. Welcome back for part 2 of our time with Itto Outini. So back to your newsletter, and so someone could actually write an essay. So you give them some guidelines, say, I don't know, 200 words to give you an idea of what they're writing about. And then they can submit it to you, and then you can give them feedback, and that gives you enough maybe to let you know if you want to go forward with them. So how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. We actually do not have page or word limit, because again, I think that is a very harsh structure for a writer. Sometimes I love to write like 3,000 words, and if someone says it has to be 1,000 words, and it might be like difficult, it might serve as a demotivator for a writer. We don't have word or page limit. We don't publish long forms like novels, novellas, short stories. We don't publish fiction. We mainly are nonfiction. We don't give them guidelines. We have a form on our website, and our website, as I said, thedatekeepers.com. Anyone can find a form there and submit a piece. We don't give them deadline. We read every submission, and if, for example, some writers, they're good writers, but they submit a piece that, I can give an example. A person just like a few weeks ago submitted a piece about how tourism is viewed in their country, and we told the person that we're more interested in a piece that is more narrative driven, and they've written 3 for us so far that fit that criteria. And the reason we said that, because the person's writing was great, but the topic was not, I think that was not something that they were strong at, if that makes sense, because we all have a different strength and differences. And now the person is writing what they love. And earlier I mentioned writing is the best therapy. We love to see people write essays, because not many platforms would publish essays about personal, like someone's essays that would talk about someone's personal life, because it might not fit their ideology, or it might not fit their audience. For us, we want to give that platform to people to be able to publish their essays, to also help them be able to write about themselves and tell their stories to the world. Because again, this is like from my personal experience. I wanted so bad to find a place where I could tell my story on my own terms. And that's what we are offering to journalists and nonfiction writers, is to tell their stories on their own terms.
So can they actually have their essay in your newsletter, or that just is the platform that you use to reach out to them for them to submit?
The newsletter is a monthly newsletter, and for the newsletter only is like we highlight things. For example, what we've published last month, if there is any update, if one of our writers got an award or published something. But for the publication, it gets published on the website, on the media section.
Okay.
And yeah, it stays there forever. It's not a 1 month or 1 week thing. The newsletter is just a monthly newsletter where basically highlight the news, tell our subscribers what we like if we get a new writer, promote our collaborators and friends, and update them about what's going on. Like, for example, when we got a McDowell Fellowship, we updated our connections, updates about, like as I said, the publications, both me and my husband's, as well as our other writers. But the publication itself is in the media section, at the Datekeepers media section.
So you said that you have a reach of 100,000. Can you explain how that became so broad? I mean, that's huge.
I am a Fulbright scholar, and basically we have our I call them my global family. So basically they're everywhere. I also have been on the media. I've been on BBC Outlook. I've published at the Chicago Tribune, and I've been on a lot of podcasts, YouTube, the Fulbright Network, and that's how we have these large audience.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you're opening doors for people that wouldn't have one open for them. That sounds amazing. So let's talk a little bit about some of the causes that you support.
Yeah, I support, like as I said, emerging writers, people who are trying to write their memoirs and they are blocked for whatever reason. I also help people find professional opportunities. Help people start their small businesses. I also help people with editorial services, because I know writing, especially in a language that is not ours. I really understand how difficult that is, especially for people who are not trained. I help with anything that is related to study abroad. I do read, for example, if someone is trying to apply to the Fulbright, I read their application, give them feedback. If someone wants to prepare for TOEFL and GRE, I answer whatever question they have, and support in whatever way I can. Because as I said, it's when I was myself applying to the Fulbright, I didn't even know how to use the internet. And I know what it means for someone who, even if they know how to use the internet, but the internet is so huge, they wouldn't even know what to do and how to do it and how to prepare for tests. And when they go, for example, if someone comes to the US or someone wants to go abroad, I help connect them with my Fulbright fellows in whatever country they are going to. For example, a woman from the US last summer was going to Europe with a kid who is a wheelchair user. And I connected her with someone, and they helped her find an accessible place to rent. So I love supporting my community, and I love supporting anyone who wouldn't have or wouldn't find that support, because I know what it means myself when I didn't have a supportive community.
So I bet you get to know people pretty well if you're involved in, say, it's not just a one question, it's a process. So that must be very stimulating to have, people from such a diverse, multiple countries doing writings on different things. They're traveling, they have different needs for their writing outlets and stuff. So do you ever find yourself really excited about having so many connections?
Yes, I love connecting with people from all over the world, different cultures, different countries, learning about different foods and different ways of thinking, different beliefs. That helps me be a better person myself. And I love meeting with people from different backgrounds. And within my community, we don't have only writers. We have people who do different things, engineers, like scientists in all different fields, filmmakers, and it's really it makes me happy every day to connect with new people. For example, I connected with someone last Friday who is a visual storyteller. And not only that I am blind, but I grew up in Morocco where oral storytelling was very strong. We told stories orally because we didn't have technology. We didn't have radios, televisions, newspapers, nothing. So when I went to school, I just became a radio journalist for a while and then a writer. So basically, I've had no training on visual storytelling, and it was great to learn from my fellow writer how visual storytelling works and how we can connect visual storytelling with with how I do it, the writing. And yeah, like I love learning about different people's world. I love collaborating. That's one of the very thing that I enjoy about the communities. We collaborate on different projects.
So when you talked about the emergence of someone, are you referring to they're a beginner and they need, I don't know, whether it's guidance, hand holding? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes. Emerging writers are basically writers who haven't made it yet into the writing world. They're still struggling to publish. Yeah.
You must have tremendous energy. That's not a question. It's it's an observation. You're very broad and you've done a lot. You're doing a lot. So you must have a lot of energy.
Little bit. I think so. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago when one of my friends was saying, you should sleep more. And I said, that's kind of a waste of time. I don't really want to sleep a lot. I only operate on like 3 to 5 hours of sleep. So I have a lot of time. I have a lot of energy and I love doing things. And I think the reason I do a lot of things is I love what I'm doing. And I am very supportive to people who can, because I know not everyone can afford to do it. But if you can, do what you love and enjoy, because you will produce good results, help yourself, help others, and make the world a better place. But again, not everyone is able to do this because sometimes circumstances force us to do things that we don't love or enjoy. But there's a lot of times of time. There's 7 days a week, even 10 minutes a day or 10 minutes a week is better than nothing.
Those are words of wisdom. So you had mentioned that your husband works with you on the newsletter, and so he helps you with a lot of your projects, the visual part, the internet, or you must have, in addition to him, adaptive devices or equipment.
Yes, he works with me, meaning he's a writer as well. He has a master's degree in fiction from the University of Arkansas. That's where we met. He himself writes for the Gatekeepers, and he also is a novelist. He's written a novel. He's written and published fiction and nonfiction in other media outlets, not the Daykeepers. And he has published at the Daykeepers as well. And yes, he helps me sometimes with the visuals, but also I have a technology that I use to do just about everything. I have a screen reader, which is a software that is built into a computer, an iPad, an iPhone. I have Amazon Echo that I can use to do things. There's apps, some of them that work perfect for me to do things. I can do shopping on my own. I can do everything. But if I, for example, receive a letter in the mail, I don't like to use apps to read it because of the privacy. So my husband, I always joke with him and say, "Can I borrow your big, huge eyes for a minute?" And he's very supportive, very helpful. Like whenever I need his help, he helps.
Sounds like a great creative team.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned some travel. Can you give some more information about travel? Because that sounds like it's really an interest of yours as well.
Yeah, I love traveling. My first time to travel outside of Morocco. Well, I traveled a lot in Morocco because, as I said, my parents died when I was very young. So I lived with different family members, and then later the entire family abandoned me, and I ended up being homeless, but also go to different parts of the country. And in 2016 was my first time to travel abroad. I went to Malaysia, which is a country in Asia. And it was challenging, but also a lot of fun. I didn't speak Bahasa, which is the language that they spoke in Malaysia. I have a lot of stories from there. Like the first time on the plane, the flight attendant came to me and said, like, showed me the button and said, if you need anything, call us. And of course, I thought, well, I need to learn on my own how to navigate the plane. So I ended up going to the bathroom, not knowing how to unlock the door, and basically flying on the toilet for about like 6 or 8 hours. And when I arrived to Malaysia, I found out that I didn't speak the language. Some people spoke English, but some didn't. And I ended up getting lost a lot of times, wanting to order food, but didn't really know what they call it. And it was an adventure. And when I went back to Morocco, I found out that I was awarded the Fulbright, and they came here to the States. And since then, I've been traveling to different states and different parts of the country. And when COVID hit, I was at first really, I liked the online world, but then for someone who is very sociable like me, it became not fun. I wanted to travel more, and after things got a little bit better, I started traveling again. I get invited to speak at colleges, universities, and different organizations invite me to speak about the importance of education for the minorities, for people like me. Sometimes I get invited to speak about the Fulbright and or sometimes just my life story. In the upcoming months, I will be traveling to New Hampshire along with my husband. I've heard that New Hampshire is really pretty state. Yeah, we're gonna go to attend writer's residency. It's called MacDowell, and there will be different artists from different parts of the world. So things like that are what I do when I travel, sometimes for work, sometimes for fun. As I said earlier, I had a dream to go to Miami Beach when I was homeless, and I've been going. I've been to Miami Beach for I think 5 times, and I am looking forward to going again. I love to go to different places. I love nature, zoos, and different things like that when I am not traveling for work.
Sounds like a very exciting life. So you had started talking about your words of wisdom. Do you have more words of wisdom that you would give someone that wants to do what you're doing or have done? What would you say to them?
I know a lot of people maybe heard this, but I think there are things that if we do, it's not, every life is we don't it's not guaranteed, but if believe in believe in yourself, hard work, surround yourself with supportive people, supportive community, embrace challenges, um, be okay with challenges instead of looking at challenges as obstacles or things that might hinder your ability to do things. Embrace them and take them as opportunities to learn. Don't be afraid of other people, because someone whom you think is your enemy, or might not like you or whatever because of the way they sound, look, or behave, might turn out to be wrong. You might end up um, helping and being helped by someone who wouldn't at first look or sound like someone who might help you. Just, I believe in human relationships, and I think human relationships, if we invest in a positive relationships, we will change our lives and make the world a better place for us as well as for everybody else.
Those are good words. This podcast is called Bloom Where You're Planted. And that quote means something different to everyone, but what does it mean to you?
Take whatever opportunity you have and turn it to basically multiply it and make it an opportunity that will benefit you and others. And do whatever you can with whatever you have, instead of trying to wish or hope or think or whatever that why, for example, why I wasn't born this way or that way, or why I don't have this or that. Use what you have, because the best gift in life, or the best garden to be bloomed in, is life itself. And take advantage of that and make the best of it for everyone involved.
Wow. Very positive words. And I'm touched, as well as others will be when they hear this. So what is next for you? Projects, interest? What's on the agenda for you next?
Yeah, I will be doing my McDowell Fellowship, as I said, along with my husband. I am working on publishing my memoir, Blindness is the Light of My Life, and working on finishing a novel, Ashraf Rawi, and working on growing the Date Keepers, and traveling for fun too, in the midst of all of that.
Wow. It's been so great having you here. And I hope you enjoy New Hampshire. I lived in New England for 21 years, I think. And I was in New Hampshire quite a few times, and kind of based out of the Boston metro area for most of that time. So that's another city that's really cool, but depends on what your interests are. I mean, and sounds like you have lots of opportunities for travel anyway. So again, I really appreciate you visiting with us today, and I will include your contacts, your website, and all your different links in our notes. And I just want to say thank you again. So
yeah, thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's lovely being here with you today.
So as our time comes to a close, Remember to keep creating, keep sharing, and keep supporting each other. And remember to bloom where you're planted. Bye for now.